Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. Welcome to All Things Musfabulous. My name is Musa Jaguja. I am your host. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited today. Like, it's just one of those days where I'm like, I'm very, very excited. And it's been such a marvelous journey. We are just journeying on a topic or series called Woman, You Are Glory. So I think without any further ado, in terms of getting into that, let me give it to my girl Ngoli, because I'm not riding alone this month, guys. It's such a fabulous co-host. Ngoza, hey honey.
Hey guys, welcome to Musa's channel. Anyway, hi guys. On a serious note, hi guys. Thank you so much, Mus, for the opportunity. I'm gonna keep thanking you for this opportunity to partner and to collaborate with you with you co-hosting in your channel. And it's such an honor and a privilege because we're not just going through this journey alone. We're journeying with wonderful women that God has positioned in different parts of South Africa, in ministry, and so many things that we are learning. And for the past couple of weeks, we've been just having, like, sometimes it feels like information overload, but at the very same time, it's God just elevating us into another level of understanding, knowledge, and wisdom as we having these conversations, So I can't get over the first episode. I can't get over the second episode.
Sure.
The other episode, my goodness, I cannot believe how God sometimes we that this is what we're gonna do. And then all of a sudden, God took over, literally an hour, 30 minutes, hour, 45 minutes. And God just took over. Like, I can't, face in his presence, that it has taught me that the plans but it is his plan that is the ultimate plan. In all today, Pastor Yol, the person that we're gonna be having this conversation with, and especially the conversation that we're gonna be having. So, Mus,
I am super duper excited. I think in all episodes I've been saying, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. But you know what? Like, from knowing who we are, being or the reason why we were created, from the first episode, like, it's been so mind-blowing, and just I can't believe how we can miss something so important, of knowing who we are, to a place now of just literally, that's why I said when we were praying earlier, God, like, when we plan something and God literally takes over. So I won't be surprised if this session here takes another turn, because I mean, God is in here. God is right here. But yeah, I am. he's so amazing. So guys, thank you very much for subscribing to this channel. Yes, thank you very much. And we see your comments. If you have any questions regarding anything that we've shared, regarding this series, Women, You Are Glory, please do leave it in the comment section below, and we will definitely be in touch with you. I'll make sure all the ladies that have visited here will definitely give you an answer to your question. But yeah, without any further ado, oh my gosh, we've got Pastor Yolanda Bam Mguye here with us. And I don't want to introduce her because I don't want to miss anything. So I'll give it over to her to introduce herself.
Wow, like, you ladies have set the tone, okay? Like, and I went and indulged on the previous episodes of this series, and I was just like, wow, Lord, I need your help because it has been amazing. So greetings and thank you for having me, Musa and Goli. I'm so excited to be here. I am Yolanda Bam Mguye, a pastor, a mom, a wife, a mentor. Geez, like there's so many things one can say, an author, newly authored. And yes, and there's just so much that God has graced me to be able to do. And I'm just grateful to be a woman who's yielded her life in the service of Christ. And that ultimately means in the service of others, and that really is who I am, a servant of Christ who serves as led by the Lord.
Amen. Amen. I love
Amen.
that. We see ourselves as servants in everything that we do. We see ourselves as servants of the Lord. And I was so gripped when you were sharing now that I am Yolanda Bam Mguye, and you started putting these hats, that goes along with your name. And I'm gonna actually give it to Goli because it's so funny because today we just want to focus on Umusa, Yolanda, Ungoli, and whoever else will be watching. Besides, these titles that come with us, so God gives it to us because it is a blessing on its own. That fact that we can be able to have these hats that we wear, every single place that we go to, because we are servants of God, right? So today we're talking all things judgment from women, or wherever judgment that come from the outside to women. We're talking all things like learning and unlearning, masking, unmasking, like isn't that we're going to be diving into today. But I'll give it straight to Ngoli to introduce it deeper. See you, my friend. Yeah.
So before I introduced the topic, when she said author, she meant this. This was what she meant. This was what she meant. It's a wonderful, wonderful, if I could speak about that, it has helped my life in order for me to plan, because honestly, I'm not a planner, but you can't be of Christ if you do not plan. Like, how are you going to find time to do everything that you need? Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we don't put things in place because I think I would think. But in all honesty, we're human and we forget. But if you've got a journal, you journal. It's a journal, like you journal. Also, it's a planner, and also it's a devotional, like 3 in 1, guys.
I can't wait to get mine. Stop, Goli. Yolanda, I want mine as in like tomorrow.
3 in 1.
Let's talk.
Come get it. It's right here.
And what's wonderful about it, what's wonderful about Yolanda and her journey is that on the launch of the book, doesn't girl say, oh, well, I've got a website as well, so you can order.
Hi, girl.
Like, guys, the excellence, like, it's out of this world. Yeah, like she is like her father when it comes to excellence.
Wow.
So the topic of today is just that it's just one of those difficult topics, but yet so easy. The reason I'm saying so difficult yet so easy, because once you get once you get it right, it becomes you become free. So we're speaking about unmasking and judgment. And one of the things I've learned about unmasking and judgment is that when you unmask, there is no way that you cannot fear being judged. There is no way that you cannot fear if you come out to people and say, look, my name is Ngoli and I've had an abortion. My name is Ngoli. Once in my life, I was a drunkard and I could do A, B, C, D. So as we unmask, as we share our stories with the women around us, because this is, as much as we're speaking generally to the women, to everyone, but because it's Women's Month. So Pastor Yols, to start off and kick off these conversations, do we have these spaces as women, that these safe spaces that we can come out and unmask in, and without the fear of being judged by others as we do it?
Sure.
Yeah. It's such a difficult one, Goli, because you can say yes and no, right? Because oftentimes we start organizations, we start movements, women's empowerment organizations, and people come flocking in, people come with trust because the banner says that it's a safe space, it's a place to heal, it's a place to be yourself. But the minute you get into the room, you might experience something completely different. And sometimes that's not always on the founder or on the person who had the vision. Sometimes that's on the community that came into the room. And so as much as the intention is there for it to be a safe space, you might find, Uti, geez, something I shared at Story of this woman, Pastor Yolanda's organization, is now like somewhere floating, or it's reached ears that were not in the room the day I shared it. And so as much, sometimes we have these spaces and sometimes the room is controlled enough and we are able to handpick and select and really make it, I think the smaller spaces, the smaller platforms for organization, and that's why I love mentorship programs, and I'm passionate about them, that beyond the conferences and seminars, we have a trust community that is literally bound by contract. So I'll make an example of my own. I can only speak about my own because I cannot speak about other people's organizations. So within my organization, we do online ministry, we do seminars and workshops, and of course we try and release resources such as that devotional planner and journal. But I also have a mentorship program where my girls who join the mentorship program, they have to sign a contract. And on that contract, it's literally got rules and regulations. And on top of that, there is also a covenant that we all sign, myself, the mentor, and the co-mentors, and the girls, that one of those things is that I pledge and covenant to be my sister's keeper. I pledge and covenant to be faithful and trustworthy with whatever information I share, you know. So we have to be, it's sad that we have to actually get to contracts to make people aware and to hold people accountable, because women are notorious and have a bad reputation for not having confidentiality and not being able to preserve the honor of each other. It's almost like you get excited to know, oh, so Nkoli is not so perfect after all. Umusa's got skeletons. Oh my gosh. Pascal, did you hear? I was at the session. And so I think the spaces within themselves are there. What needs to be dealt with is the hearts of the people within the spaces, you know, that we can become, because the space is not the organization. It's not Musa's event or Musa's community or Yolanda's community. It is the hearts. Our hearts have to be safe spaces for one another. I have to be a safe space for Nkoli. Musa has to be a safe space for me. When I pick up the phone and I call you because something's going on, I need to know that it's not, I didn't just speak to the Sunday sun. You know, I spoke to a woman of God. I spoke to my sister in Christ. I spoke to a prayer warrior. I spoke to a woman of good counsel, you know. So specific spaces are there, but they live within people's hearts. And our only prayer can be that we can build for ourselves communities with such women. And that way we will have amazing rooms to heal, to be ourselves, to be authentic and not fear judgment, because everybody is coming unmasked. Everybody is coming as they are. Nobody's coming to pretend or to impress. We are here with one agenda, to be who we are and to find purpose, you know, and joy at the same time in the process of becoming.
It's I like how you mentioned a few things, and it's like when you say it's the matter of the heart, it's not a matter of anything, but it's a matter of the heart. So I need to make my heart right as I enter that room with those ladies. I need to speak to myself and make my heart right, that I'm here I'm here because I too am not perfect. I'm here because I too want a space and a community that I can belong to, because I can tell you now that I don't think there's a single person who does not want a safe space. There's not a single woman who does not want to belong to a space of women that are just naked amongst each other. As we speak, we speak, there is no judgment. We're just there and we chat and we pray after that, and we go home, we light, we can just be as these women. Yeah.
Hey ladies, for me it's like, I think it's easier said than done. But I don't know, it just feels like my question would be, how does one find these spaces? So we can be here and then there's the three of us, and then one of us starts opening up regarding themselves. So what we've done here at home, thanks to lockdown, because if it wasn't for lockdown, because we were also in each other's spaces, so me and my husband like reintroduced ourselves, and we still are in the process, right? Because it's a journey, right? And oftentimes when we are in these sister circles, it's hard to open up because you don't know how the other person will receive you, right? And at the very same time, you want to tread in very lightly. Like, for example, I'm the only girl at home, ne? And when I'm in a space of sisters, I feel, oh my gosh, this whole world that I missed out like my whole entire life. But then again, I will then crawl back into my shelf and thinking, what do I share? Or how do I get into that conversation? So I oftentimes don't know how to probably get into the conversation, because I would think my voice is not good enough, or they would not hear what I'm saying, right? But my question then, how do I find these spaces where I can just comfortably go in and not being afraid to say, my name is Musa, and yes, as much as this was a sin, I have done an abortion. And to trying to receive what, obviously it's going to be a shock. I'm not saying it's going to, it's something that needs to change just like that. It's a shock, but then again, like you said, with the hearts, you deal with it. Girlfriend, you've got your skeleton, so you have no right to judge that girl. Remember, but then we entertain, and there's a saying in this course that, and your cupboard, and your cupboard. And those are the kind of things that you need to speak for yourselves. But no, girl, as much as your cupboard, but you're a child of God. And that lady spoke to you in confidence that you will pray. It's not your problem. Take it to God. If she's still dealing with it, then, join with her in prayer. Like, hold hands with her in prayer. But how do we get into these spaces? Anyone can jump, really.
Yeah, one of the things that I've learned, and I keep learning, is be the space you want to be found in. Because many times we want people to be safe spaces when we can't be safe spaces. Sure. When we with the ones that once I hear someone else's story, I'm the one that's going to run and tell the story. But if I be the safe space myself, I'm able to, when I walk into the room, I'm able to be bold and have courage to say, my name is Goli. As I'm like, there's this and this and this that has happened to my past. And one of the things I keep learning about unmasking is that you have no guarantees. You have no, when you go to an unmask, there is no guarantee that you're going to be received well.
Yeah.
So as part of From Mask to Purpose, that's a key thing to do for me and my mentees, because once we start unmask, once I start telling my story to them, they start receiving my story and are able now to get into my heart and to get into my space, and they feel free to share their stories as well.
Yeah.
And with us, it stays between us as well. And I can't go around sharing their stories because I know very well that I'm the one who should tell my own story. So I shouldn't tell someone else's story as well. So if I want that to happen, let me not do something that I don't want to be like as well,
Yeah.
you know. So be the safe space. You need to be the safe space.
Love that.
And I
Sure.
think what you're saying is exactly what Luke 6:31 says, that you must do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you want people to be transparent and honest with you, share your own life. Be the, be the leader, lead by example, but also even with leadership, creating the environment and creating the space, you need to discern the moment and the time when the relationship has been built to the place where the trust is there at that level. You sense the room. And as you said, Goli, there's always a risk. There's always a risk that what you have said is good. And I always say this, okay? So there's two ways. We cannot force people to be what we need them to be.
Yeah.
People cannot always be what we need them to be. And so we need to be honest about that, okay, I've got these 4 good friends. I might not belong to a mentorship program. I might not belong to a women's organization. I belong to a church, and maybe we need to be honest about such things also. The cell group leaders' wives are no different because they've received the impartation from Umam from this one. So church is not that space. My friends, okay, and I don't belong to this women's organization where I have this space, and I don't have, maybe this place. And so sometimes we have to admit that what we need is not at our disposal. And that's where we have to then go back into the shell and say, what are my options? What is available to me? And sometimes the conversation does not need to be had with a sister, does not need to be had in these so-said safe spaces, but maybe all you need is a psychologist, and vent there, so that, because this is the thing. Now, I'm sharing something really big that's happened to me. Maybe I say I was raped, right? And I'm sharing it in a room of women, and I'm really not ready for this to become something that next thing some other YouTube channel host calls me about and says, hey, y'all, I heard from Musfabulous, you were once raped, you're a rape survivor like me. Do you want to come on my channel and talk about this? And I'm like, hey, bo, I know it was like a gathering with 10 people, but I wasn't ready for 10 other people to know about it.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the first time I ever even shared about it. And so I think that we need to also take responsibility of our stories, take responsibilities of our burdens, heavy as they might be, and say, look, this is too heavy to just throw into a room with some people I know and some strangers. Maybe for now, this needs a professional ear, right? And I must just save up the money and get a professional ear. If it's something I need to work through and I've been through the counseling process, I need to hire a life coach, someone who's going to actually help me overcome this challenge, whether it's an addiction, people struggle. I've been watching so many of these Americans coming out with porn addictions and this, that, and preachers. And you're like, okay, now you're talking about it at a testimony point because they've overcome now. Now it's something that happened then. But remember, by the time you're coming out to the global community, even at testimony level, you still need to have the emotional strength to take the punches of the public disdain, because people are not going to be impressed. It happened 10 years ago, but we like, are you kidding me? You've been preaching to us and you were like, you were struggling with this. So, but the time you come out with your story, you need to know judgment will always be present in the room. I am one of the people who I can admit I always struggle with it. It's not this judgment that it's like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't be preaching, you should never preach again. But it's like, dude, are you serious, John Gray, right now? Are you kidding me? Like, are you what?
It's a shock.
I remember it shocks your system, and judgment is a natural part of us. And also, I want to speak to the judgment thing, right? That sometimes people don't judge because they're not they don't want to be a safe space or because they aren't a safe space, but it is something, it might be something that they've never experienced or something they genuinely don't know how to respond to. And they just like, whoa, Musa, like that is huge. And I don't know how I feel about that. You know, and here's an example. This one lady, a couple of years ago, she asked to meet up with me. We sat at Spur. Like, I did not know her. I was in King Williamstown at the time. She's like, please, I just want to talk, just, you know, get to know you and meet. And then she drops this shit. It wasn't like a meeting to share this heavy thing. She's like, you know, I'm busy writing a book, and in this book, I want to spill how I've broken all the 10 commandments. And the first thing in my head is like, murder. Girl, what? Who did you murder? You did not murder somebody. Like, okay, you envied your neighbor's stuff. We do that. You know, you may have worshipped other gods. We now know idols are not only these things we go to temples for. We know idols can be our phones, can be whatever. I'm like, but murder, girl. And I had a moment with myself, and that's when she actually was like, no, I had an abortion. And I don't know how other Christians define it, but for me, as in my personal conversational space, I feel that I killed a person. And it took me aback. I was like, whoa, well, I think like there's so many people who might relate with that book. And we had a good conversation around it. And I actually was reminding her the other day that, girl, like that book, like, where's it? Because I think it's so needed for women to realize that we actually truly, the word of God does not lie when it says that Jesus had to come because nobody could keep the law. We couldn't even keep the 10 commandments, you know? And so we are these broken people who within ourselves get shocked. And sometimes our responses are not as best as they should be. I might not necessarily go and speak about your issue, but you might not feel that it was well received by Yolanda. You might feel like, okay, she was really judgy and she was, you know, and I think also we need to give people time, because I might come back and be like, look, I actually thought about it. I didn't respond. I was shocked at the time. And I really want to be there for you. I want us to go through this together. I want to learn about this experience. I want to know, I'm praying about how to support you. And also just acknowledge, people are not professionals around these psychological and emotional scars. Okay. So we need to really just know that we walking into the, your question was, how do we find these spaces, right? So we need to first acknowledge that there's no formula. It's a risk of trust. Sometimes you have to start with a psychologist. If it's a mental thing, psychiatrist, then psychologist, and then with a good friend. Just start with the friend you have. And you know what? That's how a lot of my open conversations have been. It's been, Goli, listen, I'm going through something right now. I need to talk about it. Like, what is it? What's up? I share with her. She's like, you know what? I think Namhla would be best to handle this. And that's how I moved from Goli to Namhla. And Namhla is like, have you tried talking to Pinky? I'm like, can we all get on a Zoom call? And then it's like the four of us, right? And then guess what? I have 4 women in the room and we're talking about my situation. And so we also shouldn't be afraid of being referred. We also shouldn't be afraid to say, sorry, Ngoli, I don't think I'm the person who can help you now. I think Musa would be the best. And not be disappointed and feel like that person was judging me, but also a person admitting that they are not equipped or well-versed in the issue, should be well received.
Sure. Just to touch on the point that you've shared now, like for me, I think when it comes to someone sharing whatever that they're going through, I think, yes, shock, and then the acknowledgement part. Ingati, I react slow. I'm there, I support you, and all of these things. But I think if I were to tell Yolanda something, or Yolanda tells me something, sorry, and then it's the body shock, right? Okay, my friend has done this. In my mind, I'm just playing all these things. How do I help her? How do I So then to Yolanda, it's like, almost, why is she not responding? not knowing that
The hesitation is offending.
yes, right.
Yes.
And the thing is, I don't know how to deal with it, because oftentimes that's what happens. Not because I don't say anything, because I don't have anything to say, but there's just a lot. How do we move from what you've just told me to, you know, at a later stage, I'll say, you know what, whatever decision that you make, I support you. But you think again, whatever decision, you're right along the way. Like, am I so even? So for me, it's just all these things. And then a person comes back later, a month later or something, and says, you know what, I actually felt so judged. Or umbone umntu ngoku sesiya ku-shell yakhe because I'm not coming to Musa because she didn't receive me well. But at the very end, on my side, I'm like, oh, did I actually do the right thing? Did I actually say the right thing? How do I move on from this point to say, you know what, friend, I know you've told me it's big, but I wasn't the right person at the time. Ne? The referral then, number one, that you've just mentioned, and the fact that, can we pray about it? I know it sounds religious. Sometimes when you don't know what to say, I think most people also always say, then don't say anything. Some people just want you to like be the soundboard, and then once you're done and they accept your comments, be the person. But now it's the it's the gray lines. How do I come in? Is it the right thing to say, you know? Or that pregnant pause, how long must it be? I know there's no formula, but it's just like, okay, I must just say whatever comes to mind and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's such a tough one. Sometimes you want to relate and be like, you know what, I've been through what you've been through. And then the person goes to another friend and says, almost I made it all about her and how she went through the same thing. You're like, I want to show you that I'm not judging you because I've been through the same. So
same thing.
I saw there was a clip that's been circulating this week, Oprah Winfrey, that she says, don't expect people to respond to situations how you would respond to situations. And I think that speaks then to expectations, right? So I expect you to respond to my situation a certain way. And if you don't meet that expectation, I am disappointed. And I might call it judgment, I might call it self-centeredness because you made it about you. But a person who has a problem of expectation will always be disappointed one way or another. So we also need to learn to stop expecting people to respond the way you would have responded, because then you're also praising yourself and saying that you're the perfect friend, you're the perfect sister, you're the perfect person to deal with people's issues because you always have a perfect response, but nobody ever has the perfect response, you know.
As I'm listening to you ladies, what I'm picking up is maturity matters in matters like this. It's a maturity issue, because even I don't know means that you're mature enough to do not know. Even when you say, I'm going to refer you to someone.
Say that again.
I don't know means that you're mature enough to know that you don't know. And then even when you refer a person to a person that you also think is can be best for this conversation, my mind cannot handle what you're doing at this point in time, or what you're saying at this point in time. And I feel like I'm gonna fail you if I continue with this conversation and I'm not able to be of assistance. But I'm a friend enough to say to you, I don't know, let me refer you to a person who will assist you in this matter. So that on its own shows maturity, and it shows that you care. Because at times people just, as much as they want to, when you share your story, you want people who care, because you can't share a story to someone who does not care. All you want is that I care for you and I care about you. I care about you enough to let you know that, hey, friend, I'm not equipped for this kind of conversation. And let me refer you to someone else who is more mature than me, who is more experienced than me, who has walked this journey with others as well, you know. So I'm picking up, and I'm hearing as I'm having, like, as you guys are talking, I'm hearing maturity.
Yeah.
And then realness, maturity. You're so right when you say maturity, because then it will give you an opportunity to say to your friend, listen, I'm not this person that you actually really think I am. I'm quite sensitive. And because we don't know each other, right? We only know each other at a certain point. And even if it was your friend from back in the day, they don't know most of the times that you were apart. And then you rekindle your friendship, and then like marriage, so it's the introduction of, and you're reintroducing yourself to people in your circle. I think that's one of the things that I'm thinking about. Maybe let's try this. Maybe let's try this. And the people that you are in your circle, like your closest people, and just introduce yourself, indulge them a bit, how you grew up, what the kind of person that you are, and just see the reactions and stuff, the questions, like allow that room for questions, so that this one is big. We cannot throw it like that to Musa, because Musa won't be able to handle it the way Uzanele can handle it, you know. So it's just, I think it's just one of the things where you need to, like, read the room. You're right. Read the room in terms of how you will move on from you dropping a bomb, or the bomb is dropped on you. How do you then pick it up and, you know, clean it nicely and be like, okay, we are ready to go on a journey together. Are you really ready to go on a journey with someone? You know, so then that's when the psychologists, like those professionals, you know. So I love that point when I'm calling that your maturity is, you know. And when it comes to then this, so from there, you get to a place where you are safe in these spaces, and you're like, I think I blend nicely here. I like this family, you know, and but they don't know this one thing, right? Because most, remember, you found this circle that you like, and now you're busy tearing down the onion peels, so they won't know the very core of the things that you know dealt with. Or someone comes with this thing and say, listen, this is what happened. Yes, you've gone through it and you don't want to make it about yourself, right? But reading the room and saying, okay, I think someone is unmasking something. The receiving part, do you think we could ever get to that place of acceptance? And the husband, the phrase, and the question that I want to bring out. But do you think as women, we are ready for complete safe spaces?
I think we are. I think we are so ready. And as you're speaking, Musa, and both of you, Ngoli, I'm thinking about our upbringing. You know, my own mother, I did not know a lot of her scars and a lot of her pain until I was a married woman. And note, I got married at 27. So it's not like I can say until I was an adult. No, I was an adult for years, but also some of our parents, the way that they've been cultured or socialized, it's that you can't trust someone until they are at your status, which is also a married woman, also a mom, also and that's when they start opening up. That's when they want to coach you about marriage, because now you are at the level they're at. And I didn't understand a lot of the way she would respond, react, the way she would discipline us, sometimes the rage, the anger, until I got to know her scars and her wounds. And remember now, whatever she did to me as a child has affected me as a person, has affected my responses, my reactions, my triggers. It has affected my entire, basically, human experience, because your mother, your father, or whoever was your guardian is your first human experience. In fact, your primary human experience, because you might go to school and whatnot and have other family, but that's the person you're with most of your life. And so as I began my healing, I did not engage in direct conversations with her, but in hearing some of the whys as she peels those layers, as you say, Musa, I get to understand and be able to forgive. Oh boy, that's why when she was disciplining, it would feel a bit abusive. There were anger issues about other things that had nothing to do with me, and they had built up over years. And also Black women have not for years, this is what I'm getting to. Black women have for generations not had anybody to be that safe space, have had for years nobody to listen and genuinely listen and offer help, right? When our mothers went to their mothers, for help, they said, hey, Nyamezela, zinto zakhona, also ungamxelela umyeni wakho izinto ezikwehleleyo ukhulu uba wawudlwenguliwe ungazi uyithethe le ndoda iza kushiya, ungazi baxelela abantwana bakho abazukuhlonipha, ungazi abaxelela abantwana bakho utata wabo abusive. So women have, Black women, I cannot speak for other races, but Black women, especially rural Black women, because I'm a rural Black, I was raised in Eslalini, rural Black women, and I was raised by rural Black women and around rural Black women. They do not know how to express pain or hurt, or they do not know how to express their feelings except for anger. They also do not know how to receive anybody expressing it, because the only response we can give is instructive or judgmental. But you know, it's instructive or judgmental. And so we have inherited some of these behaviors and responses subconsciously without even realizing, because we were not raised in homes where our parents would sit and say, Uncle Luteni Unjena, all right. The response my mother would give me is, don't want and so wow. And so I do not have, my primary response with a woman is not to say how I really feel, because I was raised in a space that says my feelings are not welcome in the room. I always have to put on this happy face and this smile. And even with my marriage, I had to learn how to open up. I had to learn I would have silent breakdowns. I would keep in all these things that upset me and hurt me. Little things would upset me. And I mean, a little thing where I can say, babe, I really don't like these shoes being here, you know? And I would just bottle it up, and then one day just explode. It's like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, we can communicate freely. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to tell people how I feel about things. I'm afraid I'm going to be met with retaliation or resistance. And so coming into womanhood spaces and sisterhood spaces, we are unlearning a lot of bad habits. We are carrying not only the scars we've inherited from our parents, but we are carrying our parents' scars. And it's like, it's generational trauma. And a lot, and people who don't know what we're talking about will be like, are you kidding me? You saved, you got delivered, freed, and you were set free, honey. What are you talking about? But there is, a human is threefold. Now, I really want to emphasize it. We are threefold. We are souls, spirits that are living in a body, and we have souls. So I am saved, I'm spirit-filled and all that, and my soul is not going to hell because I'm in communion with Christ and I'm in covenant with Christ. But that salvation does not offer memory eraser. Like it doesn't become an eraser for my memory. It doesn't become, there's no Man in Black torch that flashes in your eye and then you forget everything that happened by virtue of coming to Christ. I have to do the work, honey. I have to pay a psychologist, sometimes psychiatrist, sometimes be on antidepressant, sleeping pills, still show up, still love my kids, still love my husband, make the marriage work, make the friendships work. Everybody expects this person. So there's work that I'm doing while I'm in Christ. So this is not curses. This is not, I want to be clear, I'm not talking generational curses. I'm talking generational trauma and generational scars. And that's not a curse, that's experience. That's generational experience. So I am trying to shed all the layers of my past, right? And I'm trying to deal with each emotion as it comes. And so as I come into these circles, I'm like, Musa, if you're going to tell me about a person who screams and shouts and beats you up, honey, I might not know how to answer anything else, but I want to grab you out of that space. Like, I might know how to get you out of that space because my defense mechanisms and my psyche is, I experienced an alcoholic dad. My dad wasn't physically abusive. He was the most loving person when he's sober, but when he was drunk, oh my word, he was verbally abusive. So I know the scars of verbal abuse, and I want to reach out and help. So I might have those tools because I've got experience in that area. I've got, compassion in that area, but I might not relate in other things, right? And so that's where we have to also realize these people we're talking to, and judgment is both ways. So as I say, it's not just you judging me, but it's also me understanding that the people I'm coming to are healing and they're learning how to be there. We are breaking generational trends. We are changing generational behavior. We are learning psychology on the spot, guys. We are learning friendship and sisterhood and community on the spot. We are doing things that we've never seen done. And that's why I think, because we are trying to create a whole new community experience and in a sisterhood experience, we laugh around things like those various women who are still traditional, who wear their traditional things and who try to bizazabo. But that's what they know. That's their sex. That's what works for them. And we've got we must also admit, some of us are Black women, but we've got a more Euro-centered wife or adult woman experience. And so find the space that works for you and learn with those people that are in your niche. Like, find women that look like you. And I'm not talking skin and style. I'm talking fiber, the fiber of character and persona. It's hard work, but you can find them. Like, guys, also normalize proposing friendships, normalize proposing relationships. Like, Goli, I have been seeing you online. I've seen the work you've been doing, and I just feel like you are my home girl. And I don't know if you know this, but like, I am your friend now. And it will be awkward for a few days, but normalize, like, because you asked me, so how do we find them? How do we create them? How do we become these spaces? And we just have to normalize breaking into that relationship and say, Ubungisa is the fiber of a woman I'm looking for. She's the caliber of a woman I'm looking for. Because we're all afraid to start new relationships. And trust is a big thing, because we've been failed, we've been let down, we've been judged, we haven't been received well. And now that we know that people have a lot of stuff they're dealing with, and they might not be where you are at now, if you identify people that are where you are and that are doing the work that you are doing, and go to them, and then go back and reach for those that are still struggling to get there, and say, my friend, I was offended a year or two ago when you couldn't respond, but now I understand that you were mentally not where I was. And let's also, so as I was saying, judgment is two ways. So sometimes the person who's sharing the pain feels judged, but sometimes the person who's sharing the pain is judgmental, because they don't know that you are not mentally in the space to be able to deal and receive with what they are going through. So let's be more kind, not only to ourselves. The hashtags that say be kind to yourself, forgive yourselves, they are trending more than the ones that says be kind and understanding of others, Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Like you've said a whole lot, and I understand a lot of things that you just said now, and it's just an eye opener. And it's true what you're saying about our parents, like the scars they carried. They did not have safe spaces. Because if I were to speak about my own mother, my mother got divorced. She was 30 something when she got divorced with 4 kids. And her own parents were like, go back to your husband because your husband wants you.
Yeah.
My granddad was the one saying, go back to your husband because your husband is here asking for you, asking for and my mom was like, I am not doing it. I am not doing it. This man was abusing me, so I'm not doing it. I'd rather suffer with my kids. And now my mom is there by herself, and and we see this woman we see this woman uzivalelayo. We see these things but we don't understand because we are kids. As a result, it only dawned on me when I was going through my own healing journey that no man, mama was going through depression at that time.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I got to be more kinder and more understanding, and she could not come to us and say, "Ngela xesha ndandi kwakusenzeka okunokunoku ndandisenzeka kwakusenzeka lena in my life," you know. So we are going through we are changing the status quo of Indomana. I need to go through healing, although my dad that I have these scars and I need to unlearn a lot of things. And to others, understanding even the others that might be my friends, others that are not that are my friends as well. That are going through, they going through, they want to go through, or they can't even go through. Abaz understandable. Love. We need to have more love. And another thing I am recently learning is when you want to share a story with someone, or even if it's just not a trauma from your past, or it's just a thing of ask the person, do you have capacity for me? Because I want to share this particular thing with you. And if the person says, I do not have capacity, sit back and then rethink, do I share it with someone else, or do I just wait for the person to have capacity? Because what I've learned in my own life is that sometimes when someone shares something with me, I do not have capacity in my mind for that person, and which then will make me a bad friend, or you will label me as this person because I did not sorry, I don't have capacity.
But doesn't that sound like rejection though? Doesn't that sound like you are rejecting that person? Because this is me. You know, won't it sound like
again, friend, it goes to maturity. This is me. This is like as I'm this is what I'm learning. So if I come to you tomorrow and say, yo Musa, kwenzekale emsebenzini kwenzekale, unjabulu uyagula, ulanduka unjabulu uyagula, uthando uyagula, and ufuneka uhoyebona, uzwai is busy working and he can't get out of work. You don't have a helper. How are you going to be of assistance to me? You understand? Because now so it's for me, as we mature, I think it's a question for me, and this is just something I'm learning as well. Do you have capacity for me? Do you can I because in like is abantu guys, yes, work. Like in like is a basic for me that work as well. You want to find a solution. You want them to be safe. You want it, you know. So you because you love a person and you care about a person so deeply, it's then a practice. Do you have capacity? Because this is what I want to say to you.
Yes, friend, I do, because I'm that. I want to be nice. Oh Lord Jesus, this conversation right here, like it's real. I love the realness of it because we need these kind of conversations. We don't know how to deal with the day-to-day stuff. We just need to, we learn as we go, right? And you guys talked so, like you talked about parents and, you know, generational traumas, you know, and how a person deals with what they have now because of izinto that you've dealt with as well. You know, last year, I was also going through quite a lot. Actually, 2 years ago, yeah. And this is the time when I was pregnant with my little girl because then emotions, yo, they were just a lot because I'm thinking to myself, I need to be validated. How am I going to validate this girl? My validation, like I still need that from my mom, you know. How am I going to tell her that I love her? How am I going to, you know, because you know now how, okay, you've seen ichomizako that have girls, like the attention that they need and all of these kind of things. I'm like, Lord, you giving me a girl. I think I was fine with boys. So it's sometimes it's just like one of those things where you're like, Ditini, you know. But you know, I sat one day and I was like, Lord, what do I do? Because this is what you've given me, right? And what how do you want me to move from this point? And I had to just go through, like in my mind, it's like I was in my mom's shoes at a time where she was pregnant with me. Ne? Ingathi like this vision was like ingathi I was her pregnant with me and having a relationship with the guy wasn't married, but for the longest time I thought he was married. Having a relationship with someone's boyfriend or with someone's with someone's boyfriend, with someone's husband. And she had to make a decision. Ubana, what do I do? Do I keep or not keep this child? Right? And I'm like, oh, my goodness, I don't understand the sacrifices that, okay, I've never understood the sacrifices of umzali wam, the things that she had given up. She could have been elsewhere, but she decided, you know. So I wrote her this long SMS, just like explaining what I got, you know. And her response was like, and that's exactly what happened. For the mere, like I didn't give up because I had this love. I had this thing that I'm like, you never know, you might be carrying such a warrior that will break boundaries, you know. And here I am now in my 30s. I was actually 30s, in my early 30s then. And my mom was just crying and crying and crying. And it opened up a safe space for both of us because before then it's like we couldn't communicate with each other. We didn't hear each other. I would say something and then she would feel offended that I've said something because Mosna, I'm that strong-willed. I tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is.
I'll find it because now I just feel like Dim Dalang, you can tell me what to do. But I find that when most of the times I go back, I get to understand her now. And I see myself saying the same things that she said, doing the things that she did. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, now I understand. Now I can have a conversation with my mom, like, dude, I know, right? They can drive you crazy. And my mom would be like, because you guys were driving me crazy. That's why I acted A, B, and C. So it's you see now, I had that wake-up call to say, hey, go back a little bit. So you're right, when Yolanda and Goli, when you're saying maturity, and you need to actually understand that person that or to go through Londo Leyu. Do you really understand them? Do you really know what they are going through? Talking about, Mana, do you have the capacity? You know what I mean? my mom could not tell me because I didn't have the capacity. I was still young. Even for her now, getting to peel off, for her it just seems like, oh, this is too big. I must just. She's still treading carefully with me. But the thing is, ingaske a porridge so that we can. I don't know how I will take it, right? But then again, it will give me a nice understanding in terms of, oh, okay, now I get why I had gotten beatings back then, because she gotten beatings, like she had to literally make as if she fainted in order for Utadake to stop hitting her. Imagine that trauma when she has a child that tries her best to listen but does not listen because ukerishe yonke lando. My mom was not even afraid. Whatever's in front of her, if when the little mistake in the corner, she will take a scissor if it's right there in front, and she would. Now I understood why, because for the longest time, resentment then I carried. Yeah, well, so generational traumas that we are dealing with, we cannot be able to operate in these spaces, right? Because even our parents, some of us, even if parents, is that when we pour our hearts to them, then they will be so easy to go to umakhelwane yewethu intombi yam. Uyeva? Because now you finish, bana, I need to tell someone because I'm the stress. You know what I mean? And then when you come back home and people are looking at you like, fight no me and yeah, but carry land when you've moved on, you've poured out what you needed to pour out, and you move on. So like as the spaces nyani sithetha ngazo, guys, like they are so important, so important to find. And blessed are you, child, if you have found that space where you are with girlfriends, you know, even older women, because I feel like Titus 2 is coming into play now in my life, right? For like there's I won't call her a mentor, she's my spiritual mom. She prayed for me even before I knew her. You know, she used to randomly see me at church worshiping, just being me, and she would pray for me. But now, years later, we got to a place where we having a relationship now, where she told me how she used to pray for me and the things that she prayed for me about. So izindongo, as they unfold, she is now sharing, Bana, oh, I didn't know that I was praying for that specific thing, you know. So it's so important to even have those cultivated relationships that you don't even know, you know. So I absolutely love this. I could talk forever about this because I'm all about helping others, being the, you know, the bridge. I like when you say, once you have solved what you need to solve, go back and help others. I absolutely love that line, because oftentimes sometimes we want to be selfish, right? And we don't want to go back. Hence, a girl child right now is so important in our days for us that know truth, to say, listen, you're not alone, and this is what I went through, and giving them the opportunity to talk, because abana bantu bothetha at times. So absolutely love this conversation. Because I think
it's been so beautiful. It's been so beautiful. And I really think that this is how they begin. This is how the spaces begin. Being intentional about facilitating uncomfortable conversations and digging into our minds, because you might find the answers right there within yourself, but you needed someone to catalyze it and bring it forth. And so, as you said, I love you raising Titus 2, that we need to have different kinds of people in our lives, older people and younger people, and they might not always look like what we want, but they might have what we need. They might have what we need, and it's very important to have that person. For example, I'm a pastor and I've got friends and all of that, but there are friends that are not pastors, that aren't even in ministry, and some are still struggling with things. Some people I grew up with, some people, school friends, some I bump into along the way, and some just want to be your friend, see people wiggling in. But there's things there's friendships I'm aware that this friendship is one-sided. I can let the person pour in, but I can't pour my personal things because of where they are spiritually. If they knew certain things about me, it would kill their little faith. But I can still relate with that person as a peer at a certain level. And so there are things I can only share with my mother, with my pastor, with my mentor, and my life coaches that are for each different area. And we have to learn to know those things. We have to learn to actually sit with our feelings and not just always have an urgency to speak. Like just sit and say, as Ngoli was saying, who would be the best person for this right now? Who would be the best person to talk to about this particular issue? Okay, I actually think that this person is the best person for that, and we categorize people according to what they're good at. Like, don't be afraid of having a friend for thing, a friend for, and this is not to make it about you or your needs, but when needs do arise, be able to categorize your women accordingly, that this is my pastor's problem, this is my coach's problem, this is my psychologist's problem, this is my husband's problem, or my boyfriend can talk to me about this, or I just actually want to go out for a movie and I'll go out with my partner, it's sometimes it's that life. We just have to learn to put people in their place and not be frustrated when they cannot be what we want them to be. But these conversations are inspiring. They're so refreshing. I feel so refreshed right now. Like, woo, it's so nice to be in a girly conversation, and we're not preaching. We're just really talking heart issues, Like Proverbs says that out of the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. Like my heart is full of these thoughts, and I'm just speaking, you speaking, we're pouring into each other. And we are just being authentic. So this is what authenticity is. I think this is what it should feel like. Just coming unrehearsed. And just letting conversation flow, So thank you so much, Musa. It's been amazing.
One of the things that we keep referring to, and I'm recent again, as we are learning, we learn as we go, is it's important to have coaches in your life. Because they allow you to dream, and they allow you, it's like you've given permission to be, you've been permission to dream, even because they just ask you the right questions. I was speaking to my psychologist the other day, and we were talking about life and the things of life and whatnot. And she just randomly opened up to me, like she told me about business and whatnot. And then she's then, I like the work that you do for your mentees. So what you can do is you do this course, you do that course, you do this course. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you can do it. So I did my research, and then after after the research went back to her, I'm like, oh, this and this and this and that. And she was like, and you can get into this industry and this industry, and you do A, B, C, D. And I was like, because I was speaking to her, now I was given knowledge and there's information, And then a career coach, my career coach would ask me difficult questions. What is it that you're going to do next? What's your next? Where are you going to go next? What are your thoughts on these things? Do you know that you're good at this? Do you know that you're good? So it's like they're giving you permission to be and dream. So I like what you said, yours, that sometimes it's not my friend's problem, but my career coach's problem. It's my psychologist's problem. So that you do not make people, you do not expect people who don't have expertise of a certain part of your life and expect them to react in a certain way. Because now and be like, so friend, what do you think about me being a manager like next year? Hey, yes, to me, hey, do you think hey, do you think you're ready? xa ndiyibuya ndiyi-interprete, I'm like, unobunomona yazi umusa.
Eh,
Unobunomona ndikuxelela because akandiboni ndiyi-manager, akandiboni so ngoku it's all about umusa.
Wow.
It's not about anything and everything that has to do with me. So I like what you just said, and I love the conversation we're having because it is real.
I think expect more conversations. I'm actually challenging both of you guys because you both have channels, and I'm challenging all of us right here, to all like every now and then go into these kind of spaces and share our thoughts, like original thoughts, because people are dying out there to hear these kind of things, to see people that are real and having these authentic relationships and conversations, not necessarily stand in a podium and say this is, because it comes differently, right? So yeah, man, I think sure. I had such a ball of a time. Thank you very much, Pastor Yolanda Bam Mguye, for coming through. I truly appreciate you and the work that you do. Continue shining and rising above the hate, okay? And and do what God has called you to be a servant of Him. He loves you to bits. We love you. We love everything that you do, and represent the kingdom truly. And to my call, thank you, babe, for always, co-hosting with you. I appreciate you this much, like right through my hands. So when I say this, so you right through it. I love you very much. And everyone that is watching at home, thank you very much for indulging us, to be real. And having these authentic conversation. If it wasn't for you and hearing God's word, we wouldn't be here. So we truly appreciate you guys. So stay tuned to more because there's going to be lots more. This series is not over. It might be over in conversation now, but there are bigger things that God is planning for us, and I cannot wait to take you with, So remember, woman, you are glory. We love you very much and have a blessed time.
Thank you.